So, I would be sharing with you one of the analysis that we did on real project instead of just talking purely on the rental data, right? Now we teach you how do you analyze a real project. So for example, one of the video that we did previously in the Birch, and TR, why not we use the same criteria that we advocate, that we has been teaching all this while, to share with you what's our analysis. How do we analyze this product's future rental data? So let's go through a few slides. So for example, if we were to pick the Birch, right, we would not be like repeating all the stuff like where is it located, what are the infrastructure amenities that we have with this product. So we go straight to the rental analysis. So how do you want to do a rental analysis when you buy under con projects? For sub-sales, it's pretty easy. You can just check with the agent, check with the owners there, check with your friends who lives there, then you can know what's the transacted rental data. So for example, right, we will always compare complementary product, this direct competition and competition in the neighboring areas. So for example, if you were to consider, I'm not asking you to buy, this is not a buy call, were to consider the Birch, then you have to consider River City. Although the size you can see clearly is not the same direct competitor, that's why we park it under complementary product. We get what's the partial furnished, asking rental, and so on. Of course, if you can get all the transacted rental will be good, but this kind of transacted rental is very hard to get, and sometimes it's not accurate to get it from some agents. Agents are not willing to provide as well. So we are fortunate that we deal some units in Court 28, which is the direct competitor to the Birch. So we get some data from Court 28, we compile here, that's why it's under direct competition product in Jalan Ipoh. And then we get also the older competitors, Viva Residency, which has a similar layout or sizes. Then we have Rika Residence. Of course, Rika Residence is not completed yet, so we don't have rental benchmark. But this is good because, as mentioned in our video, it will increase the supply of similar layout, 1-bedder, 2-bedder, 3-bedder in Jalan Ipoh. So that's why Rika is here to remind us when we consider to buy the Birch, we are already taken into consideration of this kind of factor. Our way of analyzing and research is pretty much very conservative. We are risk averse. Of course, there are sometimes we take a slightly more risk, but these are all calculated risks. We have to be aware of our competing products and the complementary products. So other than that, the other competition products in the neighboring areas, it could be Royal Region, Sri Putama 3, it could be Royal Domain, TR Residence, which is completely fit into competition product in neighboring areas, and of course Titi Wangsa Central. Titi Wangsa Central is a 3-bedder, 2-bathroom. So the Birch has 2-bedder and 3-bedder. So why do we include this on the same logic? When we consider competing and complementary product, always do a more thorough check, more thorough research on the surrounding area as well. So from here, what does the data tells you? After compiling all this data, it is quite hassle and time consuming to compile all this data by ourselves. Luckily, our research team spent really good productive hours to get this data out. So let's see from the data, what does it tell you? So for example, taking the Birch type A1 and type A2 as an analysis, I'm not saying that this is the best type, I just want to do two layout comparison. The rest also you can use the same logic. For example, you apply for the 819 square feet, 960 square feet, 983 square feet. You can use the same formula, same steps to analyze it yourself. So from there, you have to know how much is the net price or the installment that you're paying. For example, this one, 355K K onwards is the net price. Installment, let's say you put 1,008. Rental, why do we put 1,003? Because of what? Rental 1,003, rental 1,004. Because of this one. You got to see back here. 2-bedder, 1 bathroom is 1,004 to 1,009. Two room, 1 bathroom, 1,950 to 2,3 for the fully furnished. So in the conservative estimates, we just do 1,003. So if it falls within the transacted rental, which is quite safe, and second thing, you compare within the how many percentage of the installment, it still remains at above 70% of the installment. Normal estimates, that means you can rent at a better price, despite with slightly increase of the supply. We didn't project anything optimistically. In this case, we are even more conservative. We only project conservative and normal estimates. And you can see the rental that we project here is 1,450. Whereas Court 28 today is doing this price 1,004 to 1,009 for partial furnished and 1,950 to 2,003 for fully furnished. And Viva Residence is doing around this one. Conservatively, if we were to benchmark again Viva Residency, which is a much older development, and we do not want to project it optimistically, we are still projecting it very conservatively, 1,003, 1,004. And for the A2, what's the difference is that it's a 2-bedder, 2-bathroom. So we just project it 100 premium against the one bathroom. So it's a 1,004 versus 1,003, 1,005 versus 1,450. Are they still within the range? Definitely yes. Are they still within more than covering the installment more than 70%? Yes. So this is the structured and systematic way to understand, to project, to analyze property in terms of rental projection, cash flow, competing products, complementary products. So you can actually apply these same techniques to any project, to just literally any projects, because this is the we call it evergreen. It could be applied in anywhere. You can compare projects like, even you can use this to compare the Queenies, the Vervain, the Cosmo. The Queenies, the Vervain, the Cosmo, apart from rental benchmark, you have to use the third technique that I teach you, which is competing and complementary product. With the increased supply, do you think that the rental will go up, maintain, or go down? So you have to put into that scenario the factor. But of course, the estimation takes a little bit of experience, but having this structured and more systematic way, right, you will be able to know whether this type of product will be suitable for you or not. Same thing when you want to consider 121 Residence by Glormac, or any other new project or sub-sale project that you want to consider. You can use back the same logic, same theory. But I really do not want to lengthen this video too much. So that's all for the sharing today. Thank you.